What's up guys, my name is Ace, and with Black Ops Cold War coming out fairly soon, it's time for my annual review of the most recent Call of Duty game, which is Modern Warfare. And what I did last year, and I'm going to do again this year, is 2 videos. I'm going to do this video that you're seeing here, what Modern Warfare did right, where I'm just going to be focusing on the positives. Only the things I liked, only the good things. It's all going to be praise, and you might think I'm a shill because of that. But don't worry, there's going to be another much longer video talking about all of the things that I feel Modern Warfare did wrong. And with that one, I'm not going to be holding anything back, so make sure you get your popcorn stocked up for that. And that one should be coming out either tomorrow or maybe the day after. So yeah, let's hop into the good things. What did Modern Warfare do right, at least in my opinion? Of course, a lot of this is going to be very subjective, so it's okay to disagree with me, and if you do, just let me know why in the comment section down below. But for this video, it's going to be kind of all over the place. It's not super structured. I've just got a big list of bullet points of things I've been compiling for many months now of things that I like about the game. And the first big thing here is the art, the animations, and the sound. All of the improvements they've made to the engine, as well as the art style, the audio fidelity, and the animations. There was so much effort and passion put into these areas, and it really shows. This game was super polished right from the beginning when it comes to the looks and the sounds and the feel. And when I'm talking about sound, I'm not talking about gameplay balancing sound, I'm just talking about the audio fidelity. It sounds incredible, it looks incredible, it feels incredible due to these areas. So huge props to those teams over there at Infinity Ward. They made the best looking and sounding and feeling Call of Duty ever. But next up on my list, this is just the sheer amount of content and different ways to play the game. This game launched with so many different ways to play the game. Like, just within multiplayer, we had 2v2 gunfight, we had our 6v6 modes, we had 10v10, and we had ground war. Then on top of that, of course, we had the campaign and we had Spec Ops. Keep in mind through this video, I'm not going to be mentioning Warzone at all. I consider Warzone to be a completely separate thing, even though it's technically contained within Modern Warfare. It didn't launch with Modern Warfare, and it's not part of the paid package of Modern Warfare. So yeah, that's completely excluded from these review videos that I'm doing. But not only did we have a ton of content when it came to that stuff, at launch we had a pretty good selection of maps, we had a ton of weapons that also had conversion kits, which basically made it like another weapon on top of that weapon. And we also had a good number of score streaks and operators. There's just a lot to this game, and there was even at launch, and they've been adding a lot throughout the year as well. Now, diving a little deeper here, I thought Gunfight was a really cool addition that really fit with Call of Duty as well, because Call of Duty's always been about that sort of fast-paced arcade style, and Gunfight fit this quite nicely. I don't think the mode really lived up to its full potential, but I really liked that they added it, and I thought it was a great addition to the game. Additionally, when it comes to Ground War, I was actually pretty surprised at how good Ground War actually was when the game launched. Is it as good as Battlefield for a large-scale combat? No. But if you didn't go into it expecting Battlefield, and instead you just went into it expecting a different twist on the Call of Duty experience, I think they actually did quite a good job with it overall. I'm not saying the mode's perfect, but it was the mode that sort of carried me through with this game until Warzone came out. Also, just a quick mention about the campaign. Most of this video is going to be focused on multiplayer. I think they did a great job with the campaign, and I actually consider this to be a top 5 Call of Duty campaign. Next up, a huge thing they did with Modern Warfare that really pushed the franchise forward. This is crossplay. This was a great innovation. Also, the native mouse and keyboard support on consoles. I think that's awesome with all of this involved, and it makes it so the game doesn't pretty much die off for PC players after about 4 or 5 months of the game being out, to the point where you can only find games with a decent connection in a handful of game modes. This year, I would bet, is probably one of the most successful years of Call of Duty on PC ever. And a huge part of that is the fact that crossplay is available, so even in the lesser played modes, a PC player can still find lobbies because, if needed, it can match them with console players. Going off of this point, I also like that they added native mouse and keyboard support to console players, so you can play the game exactly how you want to play it using the input that you want to use, and you're still going to have a great experience, and you don't need to buy any mods like a Zim or something just to make a mouse and keyboard usable. Next up, something I'm pretty impressed with Modern Warfare is the sheer number of options that we have in the settings, especially for console players. Now, I know PC players, they've always had a ton of different options and they can customize a lot of things in the settings, but on console, it seems like we always get the short end of the stick and we have fairly limited options as far as what we can control. This time with Modern Warfare, we had tons of options, even for console, and things like having different response curves, for instance. That's awesome. That should be a staple in every first-person shooter, so that you can really customize the feel of your aiming and your character to what works best for you, rather than just having to use what everybody else is using. Moving on, a big thing I liked about this game that kind of goes along with the animations that I mentioned earlier, this is the feel of the character movement in this game. The way you handle the guns, the way your character moves, the way the recoil works with the guns. If I'm just focusing on these aspects, like if you just pop me into a custom game and let me run around and shoot at stuff, in my opinion, this is the best feeling Call of Duty when it comes to those aspects. Now, many other elements of the gameplay I'm going to be absolutely tearing apart in the second video, but when it comes to just that raw feel of your control over the character, I think it's very, very good in Modern Warfare. But after that, let's talk a little bit about the Gunsmith. I thought the Gunsmith was overall a very positive addition to the game. I don't think it was perfect. I think there was a lot of room for improvement, but it is the first time they've done something like this in Call of Duty, and I think for a first try, they did a very good job. I think the guns looked excellent, the blueprints looked excellent. I love the fact that there were just so many attachments out there, and you could completely change the look of a gun by swapping out attachments. And also, I felt like the weapon grind, like grinding through all the levels and unlocking all of those attachments, and there were so many of them, it was quite a satisfying grind whenever I was enjoying the gameplay experience. So yeah, even though I'm going to be mentioning Gunsmith in the second part of this video about things I don't like, I'm glad that they tried it, and I think it was an overall positive for the game. Now, similar to the grind of weapon levels, we also have weapon camos, and there were so many camos in this game. I really like what they did with the system where you had different categories of camos, and you would get 10 camos for every one of those unique style of challenges that you'd be completing. And even though I didn't like all of the challenge types that they included in this, like mounting kills for instance, I think the idea of the system and the structure of that camo system was very good, and I would like to see something like that going forward with Call of Duty. And on that same note of challenges, I also liked the idea of officer rank challenges if they were isolated as their own thing. Now, I am going to be talking about seasonal ranking and stuff in the second video. I didn't like a lot of what they did with the seasons. However, I did like the idea of officer rank challenges on their own. So each season will have a unique set of challenges for you to work toward, and you will get a reward for finishing all of those. And speaking of seasons, let's talk about post-launch content. When it comes to this area, I think Modern Warfare did an excellent job. We had a lot of content-related updates throughout the year. It seemed like pretty much every 2 weeks we were getting a title update that had some kind of new content in it, or at least it would add stuff behind the scenes that then data miners would find, and it would be exciting news to talk about. And there was just always something going on with this game, and there still is. There's always something going on, it feels like. And they were constantly adding new blueprints and new weapons and new operators and just so many things throughout the entire year. And I think this is the most post-launch support for content that we've ever gotten in Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I do think they did a really good job with post-launch content. And the primary reason that I'm so happy with the post-launch content, especially compared to the previous year, is all gameplay-related content was free for everyone, and all platforms got it at the exact same time. There was no season pass, you didn't have to buy map packs. All of the guns were in the free version of the battle pass, so any actual unique gun that came to the game, you could earn it without spending a dime. And this was huge for Call of Duty. I feel like this should have happened a few years ago, but they finally did it with Modern Warfare, and it looks like that's going to be following suit with Cold War, and hopefully this is the new standard for Call of Duty going forward, because this kind of stuff really improves player retention. It doesn't split up the player base by having different map packs than other people, or one platform gets something before all the other platforms get something, and therefore they can't crossplay together. I love that all of that nonsense has been eliminated and everything's unified and everything is free as the year goes on, assuming you've already bought the base game, of course. And I think they did a great job balancing that with their microtransactions. Even though all of that stuff is free, there was a ton of content that you could purchase if you chose to. We had the battle passes, which I think a lot of people participated in the battle pass, like the paid battle pass. Even though everything in that was purely cosmetic, it was quite a bit of content that you would get throughout there, and there were some cool blueprints and operator skins and stuff. Then when it comes to the actual store items where you directly buy things, I love the fact that you're not gambling anymore. What you see is what you get. You can see the price up front. If you want something, you can buy it. I never felt any pressure or need to buy anything at all in the store. It was purely optional, purely cosmetic, and there were some great items in there as well that I think really encouraged a lot of people to spend a lot of money on this game, just because they did such a good job with different operator skins and blueprints and stuff. And even though I'll admit some of this was quite pricey, like some of the operator bundles, for instance, were like $24, that's quite a bit of money for cosmetic items. At the end of the day, like I said, I never felt any pressure whatsoever to buy anything from the store. If it was something that really appealed to me, I could buy it. If not, I really didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. And this was another huge step forward for the COD franchise, and I hope we see a similar system going forward. Now, getting away from that thread a little bit, just a few minor things that I like that they brought with Modern Warfare. I really like that they added the ability to edit your classes in the middle of a game. I was quite skeptical when I first heard about this. I was worried that I'd constantly have teammates just AFK in spawn, adjusting their loadouts and stuff, but I didn't really find that that was much of an issue when I played, and it was really handy to be able to just swap something out as you're playing. I also really like the addition of executions in COD. I feel like this allows them to add cosmetic items like new execution styles that are actually worthwhile instead of like a stupid weapon charm or a sticker or something like that. Some of the executions are actually really cool and highly sought after, and it's pretty fun to get an execution on an enemy player. Another thing that isn't new to Modern Warfare, but I'm glad they went back to more of the older style of this is the Specialist bonus. So you can swap out, instead of earning kill streaks, you can earn perks as you go through a life, and I like the fact that once you max out and get that Specialist bonus, it really does make you feel really powerful. I feel like that Specialist system was really watered down in Infinity Ward's most recent Call of Duty game before Modern Warfare, which was Infinite Warfare, because it wouldn't give you all of the perks. But in Modern Warfare, yeah, you get all of the perks, as well as a few additional little perks, like an increased movement speed, for instance. And I just thought it was worth a mention in this video because I do enjoy that. Next up on my list, I feel like they did a pretty good job with loading times, although Infinity Ward usually does. I never really felt like I had to wait a really long time for a map to load, for instance, and I can't say the same about other Call of Duty games, especially ones from Treyarch. But this leads us to the final thing that I've got on my list here, and this is one specific element of the map design in this game. I like that you don't really feel super limited on what you can get on top of and different routes that you can take. I felt like you could be a lot more creative in this game, and I rarely ran into any situations where I felt like I should be able to jump on top of this thing, but the game just wouldn't let me do it, like there's an invisible wall there. Instead, you could jump on pretty much everything you'd expect to be able to jump on in this game, and that opened up some really cool jump spots and lines of sight and routes. And I feel like that's an area that we've kind of lost touch with in more recent Call of Duty games. Most recent Call of Duty games, like some of them won't even let you just get on top of a car that's in the middle of a street, which is ridiculous because you should be able to do that. And in this game, you can do that. And yeah, with that, that's pretty much everything I've got on my list here about the main things that I like about Modern Warfare and what I feel Infinity Ward did right with Modern Warfare. Outside of the gameplay aspects, I actually think they've done a ton of great things for the franchise, and they've really taken a lot of steps forward for the entire Call of Duty franchise. Having said this, you might have noticed most of the things on my list for this video had very little to do with the actual gameplay experience. And this is where the second video is going to be coming in. Just to give you guys a little teaser for the second video, for those that don't know, which I'm sure most of you do because I've mentioned it many times throughout the year. As good as they've done with a lot of these things like I talked about today, this was absolutely my least favorite Call of Duty game to actually play. And for those that are wondering why, it's a very long list. There isn't one specific reason. It's a combination of a ton of factors, and we're going to be getting into that in the next part of this series. Like I said, that one might come tomorrow or the day after. I'm going to try to get it out fairly soon. But yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. And this is where I'm interested to hear from you guys. Just focusing purely on the positives. You can save your negative comments for the second part of this video. What did you like about Modern Warfare? What do you think they did right? Even if you're somebody that hates the game, I'm sure you could think of a few things that you can at least appreciate about the game, or appreciate things that they have done for the Call of Duty community. So yeah, get those positive comments together, and just let me know what you liked about this game down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.